This video is brought to you by the EA Creator Network. Thank you, EA Creator Network, for the free pack codes. Hello everyone, JSimLady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I am struggling with the voiceover for this one. I haven't struggled this bad in a while, but I'm struggling with the voiceover for this one because it's kind of my default home. One of those 1940s, 1950s, tiny little, not quite a ranch, but almost like something similar to a ranch style home. Just two little tiny bedrooms. Neither bedroom could ever even dream of fitting a king-size bed in it. You know, one of those houses that I used to do all the time. I was recently recommended a channel here on YouTube about a woman who is renovating one of those little houses, and I was fascinated by it. I liked the setup. I liked the idea that she had for the house and everything. And I just liked the house, and so I wanted to rebuild it in The Sims and put my own little personal touches on it. And so that gave me the idea, you know, I need to do a base game build again. I've been doing so many mixed pack builds. I've been doing so much for the save file, or at least it feels like I have been, because those magical townhouses took forever. So it feels like I've been nonstop doing that stuff. So I felt the need, like the pull to do a base game house again, and do something a little smaller and simpler again. And I thought, you know what better time? I can take this little house that she's remodeling, put my own touches on it, because I love the house. I love the ideas that she has for it. There are a few minor things that I would do slightly differently personally, but not, you know, anything big or whatever. And I'm certainly not criticizing her choices. I'm just taking a house that I like and her basic ideas, and I'm just kind of putting my own twist on them just because. But anyways, yeah, I love these little houses, and they make good base game houses too, because they're not cheap by any stretch. Your sim cannot come right out of CAS and buy this house. That's not gonna happen. You could cheat and turn free real estate on. It is a very small house. It's very basic. It's got very basic furnishings in it, nothing overly expensive. So you could cheat and get them the house, and then like drop their money down to like 1,000 simoleons or something. Because personally, I feel like some of the base game stuff that's on the lower end of the catalog is so expensive. Building this little tiny, and I know it looks huge, but that's because it's on a 15 by 20 lot. If it was on a, like, quote unquote more normal size lot, a 20 by 30, you would actually see how quite small this house really is. Two very small bedrooms, one kind of decent sized bathroom, a very small dining space. The kitchen is okay for a kitchen, but definitely a really small living room as well. So if it was on a bigger lot, you would definitely see how small this house is. And yet, I think it comes in at close to 30,000 simoleons, which even two Sims starting out of CAS would not be able to afford. I mean, it's like real life in The Sims. But anyways, enough complaining. I love these little houses. If you go back in my channel history, you see that I might have gotten rid of a few of them now, because they do tend to get kind of samey after a while. But I can't help it. I'm just obsessed with these little houses. I especially love this one, and even though it's a base game only house, I kind of want to keep it in the save file. Is that weird? Would it be weird to have a base game house in the save file? I mean, I could go back for the save file and just change elements of it to not be base game things. Like I could get rid of the computer and put a newer computer. I could get rid of some of the artwork and replace it with newer artwork. Same with the bed or whatever. I could keep everything where it's at and how it's at and just replace it with newer items from newer packs. But would that be weird? I don't know. You let me know down in the comments what you think of that. This chimney gave me so much trouble. I almost didn't do it, except I really wanted to have a wood stove space down in the basement, and I wanted to have a chimney that the wood stove could connect to. So I built this chimney going straight through the house down into the basement. In the base game, there are no small wood stoves. There are only large fireplaces. So you'd have to have a pack that has a wood stove to put that there. I'm not sure. I would need to test it out before I put this in the save file. But I'm not sure if putting one wood stove on the basement level would heat up the whole house, or if you have to have fireplaces and or wood stoves in every room for it to count in the wintertime. That's something I would have to play around with before I included it in the save file. But please let me know what you think about including this in the save file, but just changing things out, keeping everything exactly how and where it is, but just changing them out for newer items, like replacing this little plant on this wall shelf for a plant from a newer pack, you know what I mean? I am truly very interested in hearing what other people's opinions would be. And then should I do a video about it, or should I just upgrade some of this stuff to newer pack items, and then when we do one of our save game, like state of the save file or something videos, I can just go over it then? I'm really curious to know how other people would handle that and what other people's opinions are of doing it that way. So let me know down in the comments. But anyways, I forgot what I was saying before I said that. Well, back to the build. So the only thing there's two things that I forgot to do for this build. It's already up on the gallery, by the way. I know sometimes I forget to put my stuff on the gallery. This one did make it on the gallery. If there's ever a house that you want and you see on my videos and you don't see on the gallery, just let me know and I will go back in the game and upload it. Occasionally, I do delete the houses, like maybe a couple of weeks later, and so I can't put them on the gallery, but that doesn't happen like super often. A lot of the times I'll keep the houses for a couple of months before I delete them. And I really do try to remember to get every single one on the gallery. Usually I end up ending the build or getting finished with the build late at night when I'm tired and I'm in a rush to get it finished so that my daughter and I can get ready for bed and get to bed because, school in the morning. So I end up forgetting to put it on the gallery, but I try to remember. Anyways, this one is on the gallery, and there's two things that I forgot to do. I forgot to put anything on the coffee table, so you see me putting candles here. I delete those later, though, and the coffee table is just completely bare. And I forget to, eventually here, there's gonna be a window well on the side of the house leading to a basement window. I forget to put wallpaper in that window well, or not wallpaper, but like I guess it should be cement or something there, and it's not. It's just the default build drywall. I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, there you have it. I forgot those two things. So if you download it, you'll have to, at the very least, fix that window well because it's just bare drywall right now. As for the coffee table, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it could be worse than there could be worse things than having a bare coffee table. It just, once you notice it, it looks a little funny to have a completely empty coffee table. Although, in my defense, it is sometimes hard to clutter things up enough to make them look good when you're doing base game only. I really truly feel like you need at least a couple of packs of some kind to be able to clutter things up even just a little bit. And that's not just me being an EA shill. If anything, it's a criticism of the game. The base game is so sparse. It's more than we ever got in any of the other games, and yet it feels so sparse that you can't really do a good cluttering job justice with just the base game. So, like, take that as you want. I don't know what to tell you. I personally love The Sims 4. I loved The Sims 3. I loved The Sims 2. I loved The Sims. Each one had their faults. Each one was great in their time. I love the whole series. I think the whole entire series is pretty darn great. There is a reason that no other games have come out that have surpassed it yet. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself. But also, yes, there are some problems with this game. And one of the annoying things is that it feels like it's lacking in content, especially if you only have a couple of packs or just the base game. It does get really boring really fast. You have to truly get creative with it to make different types of houses and have them look good, or you have to download custom content. So your choices are buy a whole bunch of very expensive packs or download custom content. Personally, I am an advocate of both. I no longer download custom content because I have so many problems getting mods and custom content to work in games. Half of the time they don't work. The other half of the time they cause major game failures. And it's just really annoying to have to deal with constantly. I don't have that kind of time in my life, so I prefer to play games vanilla. Completely 100% vanilla. Nothing. Not even UI cheats or MC Command Center. I just go completely vanilla with everything because it just makes my life so much easier. But yes, it does sometimes feel like it's lacking in content then. Anyways, enough of that little rant. I did decide to use the second bedroom as an office space rather than a children's space. I kind of wanted this to be sort of a starter home, even though it's too expensive to be a starter home. Maybe a next level up home. How about that? Your sim lived in a really basic, small, not great starter house, and then they saved up some money and they were able to buy a slightly, not much bigger, but a slightly bigger, slightly better renovated 2-bedroom house, and then they can think about having kids, but they've just bought it. And so they're using the second bedroom as an office. That was kind of the idea I had in my mind when I was decorating this. But yeah, I mean, it's plenty big enough for at least 2 kids in it. Possibly even 3. I don't remember how the walls are set up. Yeah, I think you could fit 3 kids in that bedroom. That's a fairly decent sized bedroom for twin beds, 2 bunk beds, and a single bed. Yeah, I think that would work fine in there. But besides that, the dining room can only fit 4 people. So yeah, I wouldn't put more than 2 kids in here if you have 2 adults. If you only have 1 adult, then you can have 3 kids. But just remember, the dining room is actually really tiny and can only fit a 4-chair table at it. So yeah, there is some restrictions because it is actually a very small house. I think the other thing that makes it look a big is that it's a 1-story house, and I included closets in it rather than using that space for dressers. I just like the realism of having closets, even though they weirdly take up an enormous amount of space in The Sims. Maybe that's because of the pathing and stuff. Like, you have to have enough space for the Sims to actually be able to walk. You can't just have a door that opens into a 1-tile area and expect your Sims to be able to go in there. They just won't. So, I mean, they will, but they won't. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, maybe it's just because they take up a weird amount of space. I don't know. But it does look like a massive house, even though it's really actually small. Perspective? I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, here's the basement. The basement can also be fixed up. I personally don't love doing that in a house like this, especially the way the stairs are set up. I personally wouldn't. I would just leave the basement like a workshop area, which is kind of what I did. But again, there isn't a lot in base game to clutter stuff like that up with. I built the basement with the idea in mind that 1, it would be where the wood stove would go. And 2, if you do have other packs, you can put other working stuff down there. And I'm sure in future packs we're going to get more hobby/working related stuff. So it's plenty big enough for stuff like that. That was the idea I had in mind. Maybe an art studio or something of that nature. Maybe you could put some fake grow lights down there and have it be like a plant growing area. I don't know. I left it there because it's part of the original house that I saw on YouTube, and I liked it, and I liked the idea of a wood stove down in the basement, but I didn't know what else to do with the rest of it, being that it is base game only. I won't get into that rant again, I'm sorry. That was probably kind of rude of me, I'm sorry, but sometimes I just feel like I need to say something, and maybe I shouldn't, I don't know, but we are finally nearing the end, and this is just a little bit of gardening, not too much, just enough to make the front of the house look good. There really isn't anything for a yard, to be honest, on this lot. I guess if I did it again, I'd probably put it on the next size up a lot, so you could actually have a backyard. Basically, this backyard is good enough to have 1 small dog if you have the pets expansion pack, and they can use it to go to the bathroom, and that's about it. But if you do that, I'd put a gate on the fence. I left the fence open because there aren't really any nice small gates that match this fence, but there you go. We have the house pretty much done, and we can do the little walkthrough now. Since this house is so small, I decided we'd try the first-person walkthrough again. We're in the front yard, obviously, going through the front door right now. This is the living room, dining room space. It is slightly separated by those partial walls, just to block drafts or anything, but also just to separate the 2 spaces a little bit so it didn't look like one big awkward room with like this giant empty space in the middle, because there's not enough room for the dining table to go in the middle of the floor. It has to be off to the side, and so just having that little visual separation there helps. Here's the kitchen. It's actually a fairly decent sized kitchen with lots of counter space. But aside from that, not too much going on in the kitchen. Again, base game, not a lot of clutter to use. We've got the bathroom back here, tub and shower combo, plenty big enough for a few Sims. We've got the basement down here, and really there isn't much to the basement, to be honest. Right now it's just kind of empty. It's a woodworking space, and that's kind of about it for right now. You could fill it up with all sorts of things, but anyways, let's go back upstairs and look around up there. We'll go through the kitchen again, through the dining room. So this is the second bedroom that is set up as an office right now, but it could easily be converted into a bedroom, especially since it has this little closet here. And then if we go back out through the little office, dining room, into the end of the living room near the front of the house, you have the bedroom. This one is actually set up like a bedroom, but it too has a closet in it. I did not have anything small enough to put in the closets, but obviously if you have newer packs, there are lots of things you could probably put in there for the Sims to actually change their clothes with and stuff. But there you have it. Cute little 1940s, 50s house. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you like the house. It's on the gallery, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.